All right, we are recording. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Prime. This is Phil Farrow, and I am here today with my good friend Calen Coleman. Calen, what's good, man? How you doing?
What's good with you, my man?
So last summer we got to work together for 4 or 5 weeks, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Started in, I want to say,
Starting in Arizona.
Arizona. Yeah, okay. We had
Yep.
an elite staff that session, no lie.
Oh, for sure.
So yeah, man. Thanks for coming on today, and I just want more people to hear your story. Basically, I learned a lot about you last summer that I know inspired me, which definitely means that it can inspire other people. And I know how strong your faith is, and mine as well. We got to connect, you know, over last summer, and
Yeah.
I'm just excited to talk a little bit today. So yeah, why don't you start us off with whatever you want to share, a little bit about where you're from and how basketball has impacted you and whatever you want, man.
For sure, man. Well, I'm from Bakersfield, California. Uh, wasn't born there, but grew up there. Basketball to me, growing up, was like a safe place to go to. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed all sports growing up, but basketball I really like clinged on to as I got older. Uh, but I always enjoyed it. I loved it since the moment I started playing it. Um, it's it's brought like many like joys and then many lows as well.
Hmm.
Um, but at the end of the day, I wouldn't trade it for the world. I love it. I continue to play it to this day. So
And Caitlin, how
it's one of
old
my.
are you?
I'm 29.
29. Still hooping.
Still been
Good.
hooping. Give anybody some buckets.
And now you this is your first year coaching varsity, right?
Yeah,
This
coach
past year.
varsity. hmm
How'd that go?
It was some ups and downs, man. I think the main thing was the buy-in piece for the athletes. Um, and it's tough, as far as you have kids that have never really played before, or uh, guys that have been playing in the program for um, 4 years out of their high school career. And when you come in and trying to make change, it's going to be different. It's going to feel a little off. It's going to make you want to stick with the same old things that you've been doing. And, it was some push and pull there as far as them buying in and wanting to listen to the things I wanted to give them. And there was times where I needed to just sit back and listen to what they needed. You know, I think that was the biggest thing is it couldn't just all be, hey, guys, just listen to what I'm saying. Just do this, do that. It had to be on my side as well as far as attending to what they needed instead of what I thought they needed.
Mm,
Yeah.
that's powerful, and I don't think a lot of, um, well, I don't want to slay the coaches, right now, but I think it's powerful, and the group of guys that you get to coach are, lucky that I think that you understand that, you know. So props to you, honestly.
Yeah, it was tough. It's tough because especially in high school basketball, I think it really starts with having the support of the parents
Mm.
Like when you have the support of the parents, I feel like the kids will follow. But when that foundation isn't there, it's kind of tough to, you only get an hour and a half to 2 hours with them, maybe 5 days out of the week. And so for you to try to teach them not only the game of basketball, but like life lessons all in one, um, it's kind of tough because then they have to go back to their environment, or their day-to-day habits that they've been so used to or accustomed to for so many years, and you're trying to break that all in one season. It's not going to happen. But
Mm-hmm.
like I said,
Marathon, man, not a sprint.
man, for sure, for sure.
So, I got 5 questions for you today that we're going to run through. A little bit on your playing career, a little bit on your coaching career, and I just hope that, somebody can get, walk away with something from this. And I know that they will because I know I did. So we will start with the first question. Tell us more about your basketball journey. I know you're a JUCO product. Played 2 years in your college and then went Division 1. That's pretty big, man. So yeah, tell us a little bit more about your basketball journey.
Well, so in high school, I thought it was, pretty good. I kind of thought highly of myself a little bit. And then I would say around my junior year is when I got hurt.
Mm,
And so I wasn't able to work out or play for the whole summer of my junior year. And
mm,
going into my senior year, it was making sacrifices and stuff like that for the team, betterment of the team, and what type of year that I want to have. Instead of it going and say, "Oh, this is going to be my year. I'm going to do this and that." I made a sacrifice, and
mm,
we did really well that year. I didn't get the looks that I wanted, but I knew I was going to work anyways, um, so that wasn't an issue. And my first year of college, I attended Bakersfield College, which is where I was living at the time, and
mm,
that's JUCO there. And coming out of high school, I didn't know too much about JUCO. To be honest with you, I didn't even know what JUCO was. To be honest with you,
mm.
so going into JUCO, I was just winging it, man. Didn't know too much about it. Just went in there and tried to compete. And as I, you know, was going along, started learning the tricks in the trade of, oh, okay, so you can get a scholarship out of JUCO. It's not just an establishment where you just do your 2 years and you're done. And so just learning along the way. Things didn't go too well. My first year, I didn't get too much playing time, uh, and that was tough for me. That was tough. Um, I would say my attitude wasn't the best, and I put a lot of blame on other people, stuff like that. Um, but I just didn't feel like I should have been sitting the bench, or like I should have been playing more. Felt like I was better than this guy and stuff like that, and that's typical amongst athletes these days. But I think you have to find a balance of staying true and um, and just treat it with respect and knowing that being out of it, if you don't see it at that point, uh, good things are going to happen. Um, After I transferred, I didn't uh, get as much looks as I thought I was going to get. So I transferred over to Cuesta, which is in San Luis Obispo, by Cal Poly. And I didn't have enough. I didn't take any classes
Mm,
in time, so I wasn't able right away. So I had to sit and watch 1 year over there.
Mm,
And so I sat and watched, I filmed, I did all the necessary things. I was practicing with the guys,
mm.
doing anything necessary to not only make them better, but also get better as well. And so,
Is this still like a? Did you transfer to another JUCO?
yeah, transferred to another JUCO.
Okay, so second year was okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Transfer, and you were doing equipment work and just getting to
Mhm.
practice with the guys.
Yep.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep. Practicing with the guys, man. Just doing everything to show the coach that I was invested and willing to do anything to get a scholarship. And
Mhm,
so when after that year, it was the summer going into my last year, so it was going to be my sophomore season in
mhm,
JUCO. So I have to get a scholarship at this point, or it's curtains.
mhm.
And so that summer, man, that's the summer I've told you about, where I just put in work every day,
And
every
tell me
day.
what that looks like.
That summer was a grind. I'm not gonna lie. I still kind of think about it to this day. I'm just like, yo, that was crazy. That was really crazy, but it's what I wanted. Um, and I went to go get it. So that summer, what it looked like was it was 3 times a day,
3 times a day. Okay.
3 times a day. And also I was working PGC too that summer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Three
So it was
times
three
a day.
times a day. Wake up, uh, run to the gym with my weight vest on, and get a ball handling workout in
Mhm.
for at least 30 minutes.
Mhm.
Um, with tennis ball handling, all that.
Mhm.
Okay. Then after that, just I'd run back home. I'd eat, rest up for a little bit,
Mhm.
um, go right back, run right back to the gym with my weight vest on,
Mhm.
and get up. So at first, at the beginning of the summer, I started out with 500 shots.
Okay.
So I started out with 250 um, mid range, and then 250 uh, 3 point.
Mhm.
And, um, and I had to make 500.
Okay, so these are makes. Okay.
Yeah, these are makes. So after that, after I get my makes in, it take me about hour and a half, 2 hours for 500.
Okay.
And so, and also I didn't have a rebounder, so I was rebounding my own shots.
So okay, so you're rebounding for yourself, and
Yeah,
then what would you toss it like reset at your spot? Were you shooting specific like 10 shots per spot? How many spots did you have on the floor?
I would take 50 shots per spot.
50 per spot. Okay.
Yeah.
And how many
Also,
spots?
5 spots. So
Okay.
5 spots, 50. And then also what I would do is I'm tracking.
Hmm.
So I'm tracking how many I'd make out of that spot.
Okay. And how'd you do that? Did you bring a notebook or?
Yep. Brought a notebook, had a
Woo.
pen, everything. I was, man, when I said I was dedicated, bro, I was dedicated. And
Okay.
so I had a pen and paper, tracked how many I make each spot. And after that, go back home, do eat a little bit, take a nap, and then go right back up to the gym again. Because later on in the day, guys would play pickup.
Mm.
I'd go right back over there and I'd play some pickup, get some running, get some cardio in.
And
And
Calen, were you the best player on the court during these pickup games?
oh, no question, man.
He
No,
said, "Oh, you asking me?" The answer is yes.
yeah, man, no question. But I was really working on specific things
Hmm.
when playing pickup.
Okay.
Working on catch and shoot situations, uh, catch, shot fake, uh, drive, one dribble pull ups, all that stuff.
Hmm.
So specifically, every day was different. What I would work on, and just reading situations to get me prepared for the upcoming season. And so, um, eventually, as the summer progressed, uh, my like makes started become it eventually got into the thousand. I
Okay.
made my way up to 1,000,
Mhm.
and by the time it got there, I was more fluent in my shot. I felt more confident in my shot,
Okay.
and I didn't mind rebounding for myself. I was already like, by the time you get to 1,000 shots and you make your way up, you're in shape at that point. If
Mhm.
you're doing that every day, and
Mhm.
so it wasn't a problem to run and chase down my shot or just run around and stuff like that. Like I had all types of stamina, and so that's why I was able to get up to making 1,000 shots and writing them down in a notebook and just seeing the progress from making 500 shots to 1,000 shots. Uh, but it's crazy because like today, I wouldn't tell someone to go out there and make 1,000 shots. You're just trying to like now it's like finding your rhythm.
Mm. Okay. So is that let me ask you this, Calen. When you were starting to make like 1,000 shots a day, were you starting to feel that mastery piece that goes into your jump shot? Were you feeling that rhythm that you're talking about right now?
hmm I would say there was times where I had the rhythm and I was on, and then there was just times where I was just kind of forcing myself through because like it wasn't a good day at all.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just trying to find a way to get back on track, and I would say the less of shots I was shooting, the more the rhythm I had. The more shots I shot when I got up to 1,000, it was more so like, okay, I'm just trying to keep my form and everything, making sure everything's aligned. But going to 1,000, you start to like kind of not think about it anymore, and
Mm-hmm.
now you're just shooting. You're just
Mm-hmm.
shooting at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Feel
but
like
that
it's
was
wasted reps, maybe.
yeah, kind of.
Okay,
Um,
gotcha.
yeah,
So you're kind of more of like a from your experience, you think quality over quantity, basically.
yeah, yes. Or being in JUCO, you're thinking, man, I got to get these shots up. I got to get these many shots up to get
Mm-hmm.
better. Everything like. But it's more so now. How consistent can you be in your rhythm of your shot? Where it becomes clockwork. You're not so much shooting just to be shooting, but every shot has the same technique. Every shot, you're not so much thinking, but it just becomes a habit where you're just knocking it down. And when you find that rhythm, that's when it should be like, oh, okay, I'm good. But from
Gotcha.
there, man,
So
go ahead.
after that summer where you were putting in work every day in day out, looks like 3 times a day you're on the court. What happened? What ultimately happened?
So, man, coming back into my sophomore season, uh, I had to sit down with the coach and I just let him know, like, coach, hey, like this is it. And we had that talk, and he was just like, you know, I'm really pushing to do some big things this year, and he pretty much just gave me the green light, man. And but with that, I respected uh, his guidelines, the way he wanted to run the offense and things like that. But he gave me the green light to do whatever. Um, so coming into my sophomore season, right away, man, off the bat, it was like the first tournament, and it was at our house, and I did really well. Did really well. Didn't force too much. Did my job. We ended up winning our tournament, and after that weekend, it was just you know, it. it took off from there. And no one knew who I was because I didn't play too much at Bakersfield. I sat out the year before, so me I much people, and so just stayed with the grind. Made sure every day at practice we were pushing each other, and there was times where we didn't get along as teammates, but we still had each other's backs on the court and stuff like that. And um, there was times where coach would tear us a new one, but at the end of the day, we all knew, and I won't forget it to this day. What he told us, he says, "If we win, you win." So I was just like, I bought in. I was bought in, and I had learned from my situation from Bakersfield, how I acted and stuff like that, and I didn't want to take that into this new journey at Cuesta and stuff.
Hmm.
I really bought into what the coach was giving us and what he believed in us, and it showed, man. I was able to get a scholarship out of it.
Yeah, so you know, those kind of conversations with your coach can be tough. So, if you could give us a little insight as to, what did you say in that conversation with your coach where, you were like, hey, coach, like, I put in a ton of work this summer. I feel like I'm ready to go. How did you approach that conversation? And what did you do that made you feel like the conversation was a success?
Well, it all started when I had transferred over. I had already had a conversation with him the year prior, and he just asked me like why I was transferring there to Cuesta and why I didn't necessarily get the playing time over at Bakersfield. And I just explained to him everything. I was transparent with him about the whole situation, and I think from there he built some trust in me, and we had that uh, that relationship where I can go talk to him. And so going into my sophomore season, I just let him know, like, hey, coach, like I want to play D-1, like that's my goal, you know. And he believed in me. He thought I was a D-1 player, and so he said, okay. And that's um, pretty much sat down with him and just vented, telling him what schools I wanted to go to and would love to play at. And he pretty much was just telling me, hey, if you play as a team, you'll get those looks that you want, and I'll vouch for you. I'll be in your corner doing doing what I need to do as a coach. So
So ultimately, the buy-in from you, potentially, from your teammates as well, that led to wins is kind of what led you to a Division I scholarship.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
Man, okay, so that ultimate choice to buy into what the program is doing, buy into what your coach wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the best advice I heard as a player was, as players we don't always agree with what our coaches do,
Yeah.
but if you are you know in disagreement, the best advice I heard was go get your own program and run whatever offense or defense you'd like to run. Become a coach. If you disagree with your coach, become a coach. But if you're a player,
Yeah.
got to understand that there's a system in place, there's a
Mm-hmm.
coach in place, and ultimately buying in is what's going to lead to wins. And in
Mm-hmm.
Calen's case, his dreams. Honestly, you wanted to be a Division I player. You bought in. You guys won games,
Yeah.
and then you got your D1 dream. So, talk a little bit about what your experience was like at the Division I level after coming from
Oh
JUCO.
man, it was different. I'm not gonna lie, but it was also a great experience at the same time. So I transferred to Montana State University. which is in Bozeman, Montana. Um, when I first got there, I was like, all right, this is a nice little town, nice campus, like a really nice arena and everything. But it was just like, as I looked around at my teammates and stuff like that I had, I was just like, this is D1? And so um, it kind of, for me, just like, I worked my butt to get to this D1, and it wasn't what I thought it was. I'm just being honest. It wasn't. I thought it was going to be like a higher level of play, like that would exceed way past JUCO. And there were some teams I played where there was JUCO teams I played against that were absolutely better than those teams.
Yeah, dude, that's some things that or that's one thing that not everybody understands. When I played a little college, we played a JUCO team uh at a scrimmage who was the number one team ranked in the country. I mean, these dudes were um they were Division 1 talent, dude. Straight up. They were dogs. We lost the scrimmage by like 2 points. And it was just a really like eye-opening experience. Is the divisions, that's a whole nother subject that we could get into. But
Yeah.
finding the right fit, and
Mm-hmm.
looking for that program that's going to look out for you, ultimately might, that might be, should be your focus. What do you think?
For sure. I think right fit. This I think like right scenery too. Um, the right place where you feel like you can grow as a person. Um, not only be comfortable but stretched at the same time. Um, but just don't go for because it's either D1 or the name of the D1. Um, there's D2s that are just as good, that are treated just like D1 schools. And there's some D1 schools that are treated less than D2 schools or that are treated like JUCOs, So,
Preach.
I mean, it's really just where you fit. Um, and don't think about it like I think a lot of kids today think of the place, man, I'm going to be the star there and blah, blah, blah. I think when you think about it like that, um, things don't tend to happen the way you thought it was going to happen. And then that's where you get to this day, what I believe, there's a lot of kids in transfer portal, that are wanting to transfer because they had this preconceived notion of how it was going to go and doesn't end up going that way. And now you want to transfer.
And Calen, how do you think players can combat maybe those those expectations that you come in with? I want to be the star. I want to score. I want to average the most points. I'd like to average the most assists. What would you say to those athletes that are going in with that kind of a mindset, and maybe things don't work out the way they thought?
Um, for them, I would just say, go into a place where you buy into the coach. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't go to where a coach is just gonna blow smoke, saying, "Hey, I see this for you. I see this." Like, you want to go somewhere where a coach is upfront and transparent with you and say, "Hey, I'm recruiting you, but you're gonna have to work for this spot. I have a senior guard or a junior guard in front of you. I'm recruiting you because I believe in your abilities, um, but you're also gonna have to work for it. It's gonna be handed." I think a lot of times coach will go and get a player, and so I feel like a lot of times with those get smoke blown up, and we see you doing this, you know, like it's not the same way. You get I don't expect you to be on the maturity level that you would handle yourself with a mature mindset, but I don't expect you to handle it with, dignity and respect because it's a hard situation to be in. You're away from home, you're by yourself, you're a freshman in college, you know.
Taking me back right now.
So it's tough. I can understand, but you want to go where a coach is going to be upfront and transparent with you from day one and let you know what it is that you need to do to improve your game and for this team to be the best version of itself, for you to be the best version of yourself. And that way you don't get into these, you know, spells of transferring because, oh, this coach didn't do that. This coach did this. And you don't, like how I think about it today, like that's how I was. That's what I did, and I don't want to see the next generation of kids do that. So,
Absolutely. And, you just kind of triggered a thought for me. Like, as players, we hope that coaches are going to be upfront, like you said, transparent, authentic about, what we can bring to the table, what we need to work on, so we can improve our games and ultimately get some playing time. Um, Additionally, players being upfront, authentic, um, with coaches and, like you did, kind of sharing your vision with your
mm,
coach. Like, hey, coach, I'm really interested. For myself, I see, I want to be the go-to guy. I want to, score this amount of points. I want, these minutes, whatever it may be.
mhm,
Coach may have a ABC step plan for you that
yeah,
you may need to do first
mhm,
before he or she feels that that they can put you in that role that you want to be in, and
oh, for sure.
ultimately just starring in your role is maybe a good way to combat those kind of expectations right off the bat.
Hmm.
um, so that's good. I'm really glad that you shared all that. I got another question for you, Calen. What advice do you have for athletes training during quarantine and going into this summer?
Ooh, this is a unique summer, man. It's gonna be a unique one. But over the years, I just learned about just simplicity. Just keeping it simple, um, breaking it down. If you have to go back to the fundamental things, then go back to that, and then build off that. A lot of times these kids are watching these training videos and it's great. Don't get me wrong, because it's something that I didn't have when I was in high school. I couldn't go on YouTube and see these training videos and go out and implement. All we could do was just watch either college ball or NBA and see our favorite player and go and emulate what they were doing on the court. But I would just say just keep it simple, whether it be from ball handling to shooting to layups. Obviously, you want to work on the more uh, unique type things as far as like being able to finish coming across your body and stuff like that. But I just think like building off that, as far as getting back to the base and building it from the ground up, um, will help their game tremendously. Uh, well, from ball handling, keeping it simple, man. Like not like 2 to 3 dribble moves before you get into your actual attack move.
Mm.
You know, um, doing the things that we worked on yesterday, as far as like um, just doing tennis ball handling. Doing two ball handling. Um, thanks, man. Just keeping it simple, man.
Keep it simple. Keep it
Keep
simple, man. I 100% agree with you. Um, we get to see a lot of these trainers that they're high level basketball players. They are legit basketball players. I follow guys like Tyler Relf, DJ Sackman. Those guys
Mm-hmm.
are no joke, man. And for them to be that creative with tennis balls, 2, 3 basketballs, that's a testament to them as ball players.
Mm-hmm.
And for us to ultimately reach for that level, we got to understand, like you said, sometimes we got to go back to the fundamentals and just
Yeah.
build that base for yourself, so ultimately you can get more creative with your game.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
Calen, I got one last question for you and then we will wrap it up.
Go ahead.
um, Last Dance, man, what have you learned from the documentary The Last Dance, and how has this applied to everyday life, coaching, training, whatever it may be, man?
To be honest with you, from what I've seen on The Last Dance, I've really learned about starring in your role. Starring in your role, man.
I like
Like
it.
just watching, um, like MJ to Scotty to Dennis Rodman to John Paxson to Steve Kerr. All these guys, they like starred in their role. They knew what they could do and they did it, but also like just them believing in one another. And MJ being the leader of it all, um, there was times where he even pointed out, hey, they're leaving John, they're leaving Paxton open. Let's get him the ball. So like just being able to notice things like that, but also being the leader of the squad, taking the load when needed to. And then Dennis Rodman from just starring in his role of rebounding and being a defensive stopper. Scotty being that 2 punch, when they needed him the most. Um, I just think that for athletes today, just knowing what you bring to the table and star in that role. Don't try to do anything outside that role. Um, and if you're specifically good or great at something, stay with that. They're not saying not to add other things to your bag or anything like that, but stick to what you're great at, right? You can add tools along the way that will help you as you further. And I think that applies to life too, in any profession that you're in as well.
Agreed, man. Agreed. So yeah, I mean Dennis Rodman, for him to be getting away with the Las Vegas nightclubs and whatnot, my man he started his role. He grabbed the rebounds.
Right.
Phil Jackson, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen all knew this guy is a winner. He's gonna
Yeah,
show up for us. So you
yeah.
know what? If he wants to go to Vegas for a week and go party,
We're
let
cool
him
with that.
go.
We're cool with that. Hey, for him to come back, that was the crazy part to me. Like they let him go, and they said he can only go for 2 days. My guy was gone for 4, and then for them to have to go and travel to go pick him up, bring him back, and him still beat them in running.
Oh man, that Indian run, man. I wish they would have caught that Indian run on video. I wanted to see that.
Bro, he lapped them by 4 laps. That's
MJ
crazy.
was just like, just leave it. Just leave it.
He was on another level for that, bro.
That's awesome, man. Well, Calen, I appreciate your time today. I personally learned a lot. I hope anybody tuning in learned a lot from Calen as well. Calen, if you could drop your like Twitter handle or Instagram handle in the chat box real quick, I will flash that for everybody to see. Make sure you hit Calen with a follow on Twitter, Instagram, and my man, appreciate your time. Thanks for coming on. And hopefully we can have you again on soon for something.
Oh, appreciate it, bro. Appreciate it, no doubt. This was awesome, especially last couple of days handling every day, and then hopping on here for some Q&A. It's awesome, bro. And my Twitter, yeah, it's the same.
So it's the same thing for Twitter too.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So we got Calen's Instagram right here. Give him a follow. Same username for Twitter. And yeah, we're signing off. Calen, appreciate you, brother.
I appreciate you.
All right. All right, man. Have a good one.